Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use one image to generate all of these images. This is the input image I've used. As you can see, it's blurry. That is because of the camera I'm using. It adds a blur in the background, and it's like a fake blur. It's in software, not really in the camera itself. But even with these quality input images or photos, you will be able to generate these type of images. And as you can see, it's taking my face, generate an image with it. And this one is the first time I tried it, and you can see that we have little imperfections in the image, but then as it keeps on going, it refines it and it generates better and better images. We can also do different gender, even though the first image, the input image itself, is that of a man. Normally, when you use input images of a man to train a LoRA, you will need to use some kind of trigger word. Let's say I'm trying to do a LoRA of myself. I will use my name, Sharvin_man. And then whenever I prompting a model to generate images of myself, I will again add that trigger word into the prompt. So I will always do Sharvin_man and then get an image. So I'm restricted to that same gender, but as you can see in this one here, in this particular example, I'm generating images of man. This time it's a woman, but it's still keeping the same facial features. So we still have the beard, mustache, but you will have the ability to choose if you want a higher intensity or a lower intensity, and you will be able to generate different genders. Here's another example. Here's another one. And you can see from this example how it's able to do different styles as well. Talking about the styles, this one is digital painting, and you can see that the intensity in this one is too high, but as we go through, it's able to get that digital art style in there. And here's another one. Again, as you can see, the face looks realistic, but we have like a painting background. As we go through, it's able to add that style in there. We can also do black and white, even though the input image has colors, and as you can see, it's able to do it real well. Okay, so when it comes to generating these images, it's very easy to generate these images. As you've seen, it's only going to take one input image, and it's important to talk about what people can use it, sort of misuse it. And in this particular case, as you can see, I'm taking somebody else's picture and I'm just putting my face in there. Some of you may recognize the hairstyle. Here's another one. This is a magazine, and I had to blur out the text, but as you can see, these are things that is potentially possible with this. Here's another one, a fun one. This is from the Deadpool scene, and I'm just using my picture in there. And it's important to talk about this. All of you are adults, so I'm going to assume that you know what is right and what is wrong, and you are going to do the right thing. I'm showing you this so that you can use your face, have fun with it as personal project. Definitely do not misuse it, especially when it comes to bringing harm to someone else. Now let's talk about the type of images that you will not be able to generate with this method, or sort of you will need to keep your expectation down, and it will be these type of images, like cartoony images that has very distinct style. In this particular case, we have like a 3D cartoon style. As you can see, is able to grab certain facial elements. We have the glasses, we have the beard, the mustache is there, but it's not the same face because of that style that is happening. Still, if you play around with the intensity, you can get a good result that's going to originate from that input image. You will not be able to do things like this where we have anime characters with disproportionate head and body. It's just not going to work, because the model that you will be using, whether it's SD 1.5, SDXL or Flux model, they are all trained to do anatomically correct characters. So most of the time when you try to do this, the head is way too small for the body and it's not able to generate it correctly. So those are the limitations. Let's take a look at the workflow before we go into the installation process. Okay, so I've loaded the workflow. By the way, this workflow is included in the custom nodes. You just need to go into workflow, open, and you will get two in the example folder, I believe. We just need to go into ZenID, workflow here, and then you will get these two. I'm using this face swap. The face combine is a different thing. I will talk about this maybe in a different video, but I've loaded this one here, the face swap. And what it allows us to do is to take an input image. This is the source image, and then we take a face. This face can be anyone, and we are basically taking the features of this face and then generating a new face on this input source image. Now, a few things that will stand out is that this method or this implementation, basically it's using InstantID, and it's using that model, the InstantID model. Now, this particular version of InstantID model will require an SDXL model. So you will need to have an SDXL model. You can use Juggernaut. You can also use the Realistic Vision XL. They are both really good models to use with this workflow. Next, you just need to get your input source image, and that is here. It's the first one. I believe by default it's like this. One is on top of the other, and I've just arranged it so that it's easier to explain everything. Now, for your source image, that's going to be the face that you will be replacing, and it does not have to be like a person or a human being. I've shown you in the example, the demos before, the demo images. You can do anime as long as the body is proportioned correctly, and you can also do these type of images. I believe this one is Black Myth Wukong, or maybe it's yeah, I think it's from that game Black Myth Wukong, and you can see that we are taking a game character and then generating a new face on top of this. So this image, I think it's available in the examples folder, so you can use that as your demo. This input image face is going to be the face that you will be using, and to get the best result, you want the face to be in focus. You also want the face to be the only thing in that image. You don't want the entire body, and if possible, just crop it to just the face. Next, it goes into the ZenID face swap, and it's again using SDXL IP adapter version of the InstantID model. And for me, I'm using insightface CPU. You can also try the CUDA if you have it. If you have AMD, you can use ROC M, and I'm not sure what the core ML is about. Now, that goes into a K sampler, very normal thing, and then it goes into a VA decode, and then we have the preview. Now, you can see from this basic example here, this is the basic nodes that you will need in order to generate an image using ZenID. And from the look of it, no matter how you tweak it, you will always be getting images like this. Again, it's able to get the facial features. We have the glasses, eyebrows is same. We have a little bit of mustache, beard a little bit. Those are transferred correctly. Even the face is correct, but you can see that it's not the same sort of like style. Colors are a little bit funny, not really matching, and we have clear separation between the face and the hair, and it's not really like this one where you can see that it's a natural, the hair is naturally coming out of the head. And this one, it's like, okay, this person just cut out the face and Photoshop it there. That's the kind of effect that you will get when you use the basic workflow that comes out of the box with this custom node. Now, still some of you will be using it and it will work depending on the images that you'll use. If you have a realistic image and you use the realistic vision, it's going to work really well. In fact, this is how I generated this image here, and I had to play around with the weight in order to get everything correctly. But all I've done here is a simple face swap. So this background and the neck, suit, the hair, these are all like from the original image, and it's only the face that was generated. And that's really what is happening here. When we put a mask here, we are telling the model to only generate this section of the face, and it tries to keep everything else the same and only generates this section. Now, few things that you can do to improve your generation, that would be to play around with the weight. 0 means we're not using the face at all. Going to 1 means having a very strong influence, and you can go higher as well. I found out that the more you increase it above 1, the funnier and the more contrast the output becomes. So you may want to stay around 1 or even 1.1, 1.2, depending on the image that you're generating. By default, it's at 0.8, and depending on the input face image that you have, this may not be enough. Obviously, the more you decrease it, the better the output image will look in terms of coherency, but the face will not be the same as the input face image. So if you want that strong face fidelity, then you will need to increase the weight a little bit, but then you come into this scenario where you have a clear distinction between the face and what the original picture was before. Now, other thing that you can do is you can play around with the end at. So that's again the same thing as control net, where we start generating using the face, and let's say we change this to 0.5 like this, and if we're using steps 20, so 0.5 of 20 will be 10. So at step 11, it will ignore the input image and just do whatever the base model comes up with. So that may give you better result. Again, you lose a little bit when it comes to the face fidelity. So we can try at 0.5, and this one was at let's do 1.1. Let's give this one a go. I'm leaving everything else the same, even the seed here is fixed. Now, don't think there's much of a difference. We have a little bit more of the mustache. I believe I have it here. Let's see. So this is the first one at slider and at was at 1, and then this is the second one where the slider was at 0.75. All right, so you can keep on playing around with this, and that's all you will get from the custom node out of the box. So what I've done is I've taken the workflow and I've done an SDXL workflow, and using this workflow I was able to generate these images here. So all of these images that I've shown you previously, all of these, the anime, where we are changing the style, the different style here, these ones, the black and white, and even the line art here, they were all generated using this workflow. I've also done a Flux version, but you can see the difference here. The SDXL has more going on compared to the Flux version, and that is because of the lack of VRAM. On my side, I have only 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and the Flux one just takes on too much resources. So I'm going to share the SDXL version with all of you. The Flux version, I'll keep it on my Patreon for anyone interested. It's just because I cannot provide support for everyone who will be trying out on YouTube if I were to share it on YouTube. So let's go over the workflow. I'm using the Juggernaut XL. Like I said, this one is SDXL only. And you may see a difference here between this original version and the version I made. It's that we have a positive prompt now. In the original version, the ZenID face swap does not use a positive prompt. It actually gets the positive prompt based on the images that you input, but in this one we can add a positive prompt, and as you can see, I'm doing anime style. You can do all painting. You can also do things like watercolor or something like that. So all of that is going to work, and you can change the style depending on the prompt that you will be using. You no need to use a LoRA in order to get a particular style. Now, next we have the load image. So you just need to put the face in there. And if you want to use the original method where we have an input image and we're swapping it, you can go down and you will see a load image, and you can input the same thing. That load image here, it's automatically going to resize to 1024 by 1024. That's the ideal resolution for SDXL. You can change it if you want a different aspect ratio, but I've set keep proportion to true. So even if you use like a different proportion, it will try to restrict the longest side to be 1024, and then it will automatically calculate the shortest side based on the factor there. Now next you will input your positive prompt. Since this is SDXL, you can actually play with negative prompt, but you need to keep in mind that this negative prompt will be for the face. So most of the time you don't want to add anything in there unless the positive prompt, like the model, is generating the character with the mouth open and you want the mouth to be closed. Still, you can add it at the top. The positive prompt works well. You can do smiling, you can do mouth close directly from here itself. We can actually do one here where we have watercolor, and let's do smiling. And even though the input image is not smiling, we can add smiling there. I misspell it. All right. Next, it will go into a K-sampler, and you will notice two things here, that we have a latent that goes into the K-sampler in this section here, and then we have another latent down which is going into this K-sampler here. So these are two different K-samplers. If you are using this load image node, if you have an input here, you are basically getting the same workflow as the original one where we do not use a positive prompt. So that initial image that you will get here, the first save image node that you get, it's going to only do a face swap. And then what's going to happen is that this positive prompt will get triggered when we are doing the next step. So we have 4 other steps here, and it's going to take that positive prompt into consideration here. So let's say, for example, when you do the face swap, you don't get a smiling face. When you are doing the other one, it's going to add that smile in there with a little bit of modification. And to determine whether you use the top one, the positive prompt, initially, or if you want to use an input image initially, then you will need to come to this here where it says input 1, input 2, and then we have a latent. Right now it's at 2. 2 means the bottom section. This input image is 2. We'll change it to 1, and it's automatically going to switch to the top part. Now, another thing that you'll need to do is this here where we have the input and output, and this is for the mask. If you are using the positive prompt only without inputting an initial image to do the face swapping, then it will automatically do the masking. But if you are adding an image, then you can choose between automatic masking or manual masking. By default, it's on 1, which is automatic masking, but sometimes I found out that it does not mask out the eyes. So you can switch to number 2 and then right click on the image, go into open mask editor, and then you can do your mask covering everything that you want. I'm going to leave it as 1. I'm also going to leave this one as 1. So basically we're not using this node here. Now the first K-sampler, it's just doing the positive prompt. I've already set it up so that if it happens that you don't have enough VRAM, it will generate the first one and stop right there. Then you can click on Q prompt, it will generate the second one and stop right there. So this SDXL is already done in that way. This way you don't have to generate the first image every single time. Now it goes into a segmentation anything ultra v2, and this one takes around 2.5, and the model is quite big. Even though that this is a SDXL, on my machine at least it takes 10.8 I believe gigabytes of VRAM. So we have around 6 gigabyte here, a little bit more. Then we have about 2.5 here. It's increasing, and we have so many things going on as well. I don't think you need to change anything here in the segment anything. That's the automatic masking that will happen. But for the load control net, you'll need to get the InstantID Diffusion PyTorch model. I will show you during the installation process how to download and install everything. You just need to select it from there. It goes into a second workflow. Now I've added a face detailer. I think the initial image doesn't have a lot of detail. This face detailer add a bit more detail. And then it goes into the variation, the intensity of that initial image. So we have one here, the less intense, or actually more intense, sorry. This one will be more intense and this one will be less intense. And the further you go to the right, the more it will adhere to the style, but you will also lose a little bit of resemblance of that input face. So let me do a prompt. I'm going to show you both the prompt and the input image. So first, I'm going to go with the prompt here, where we have watercolor close-up of man smiling, even though we are not smiling in this face. And let's generate it. I will have to pause my screen recording because I just don't have enough VRAM for it. All right, so it's completed. Let's see. And well, I've selected these two options here. I've selected number one, which means number one for the top one means using the prompt, and number one for the second one means using the automatic masking. So it's automatically doing it, and I think it's perfect here. Now, as you can see, this is the initial image. I've said watercolor close-up portrait, and then man smiling. As you can see, we have the smile. Pretty much all the facial features are there. At least to my eyes, but on the face here, you can see that this initial image, we don't have that watercolor effect just yet. So that's why I go into this face detailer first, which adds a little bit of detail before we go through the variation, the intensity basically. And the first one is the higher intensity for the face itself, and you can see that it's starting to add this brush stroke, and we can see these patterns added here. Now this one is even more for that pattern. You can see it here around the jaw, and this one has more. Okay, so as you can see, this one works compared to this one. Let's do another one where we now change this to 2, which means that we will be using this input image as the main image that we want to use. So I had to change the prompt because that image it's not watercolor. So I removed watercolor from there. I also added monkey. I'm not sure if it's going to work because I think in Black Myth Wukong we have like a Monkey King. I have not played the game yet, guys, so I'm not sure about the story just yet, but you can see what's happening here. So it goes from here directly to this here, and you can see that it's automatically detecting where the face is at, and we'll see how good it does. Right now I'm recording. I'm not sure if I will have enough VRAM, but it seems to be working. All right, so as you can see, it swap out the face, and now again it goes into the rest of the workflow. And all right, so here's where some of the problems come with this node, because we have a like monkey in that that prompt. It's going to use that prompt to generate it. So now we have a monkey wearing glasses, and as we go we have really nice pictures of a monkey wearing glasses. So I think I will remove monkey from here. Let's do another one, and let's just see how it goes. And you can sort of see what's happening, by the way, guys. This switch here, remember I said number one will be for the positive prompt, and number two is going to be for the image. So when you use the positive prompt, you don't get this K sampler. It doesn't get activated. It just goes directly to the face swapping part. But when we use number one, it will generate an initial image, then goes into a face swapping part. So that's basically what this switch here is doing, and I've already explained the mask. If you find out that the mask is not correct here, change it to number two, and then draw the mask manually here. All right, so I think it's going, and we can see the face there. And because I've removed monkey from there, now I think it will be only man. All right, so it keeps on going. And notice how I have smiling is still in the prompt. The initial image doesn't have any smile. That is coming from the input image. And as it keeps going down, like on the right side, it will try to add that smile. So we can see it here. But now we're losing a little bit of the input image, right? So you need to find that balance point of whether this one is working. This one, I think this one is probably the best, even though we don't have a smile right now, because the other one, even though we have the glasses, it doesn't look like me. This one at least does. So with this workflow, you get 4 different images, and you can just pick whichever one works for you, depending on what you're looking for. So that's my workflow for SDXL ZenID sort of face swapping, then you can also change the style by adding a style here. All right, so let's go over the installation process on how you can get this one to install. So I'm using ComfyUI. You can just search for ComfyUI and you will get it here. I'm also using the latest version of ComfyUI, and my version, it's Python 3.12.8. I'm using PyTorch version. It's at 2.5.1, and then we have CUDA 12.4. My ComfyUI version is at 0.3.12. So if you have any issues, just make sure you get the latest version of ComfyUI and you should have everything. So right now in this screenshot, as you can see, I have only ComfyUI Manager installed. So I'm going to show you from scratch how to get it to install. If you are a regular viewer of the channel and you already have InstantID SDXL version working, then your installation is very easy. All you'll have to do is to go into Manager, Custom Nodes Manager. At the top here, search for ZenID and install it. That's it. Since you already have InstantID, it will automatically pick up the dependencies and you should be good to go. For those who do not have an InstantID, then your installation will be a little bit more complicated. So let's go to the manager and then click on Custom Nodes Manager. Again, install the ZenID, restart your ComfyUI. In the terminal, you will see something like import fail. And probably the first error that you will get will be the missing module CV2, that's Computer Vision 2. So you will need to go into your ComfyUI portable folder, the Python embedded folder, go inside this folder. And then once you are inside this folder, at the top here, the address bar, type in CMD and then press enter. This will open a terminal, a CMD command prompt terminal. Then you just need to type in this command as it is. This is python.exe space -m space pip space install space opencv -python. This will install the CV2 module, which was previously missing, but you may see another error that says import fail, no module, name, insightface. If you get this error, then go into the description of this video. I will share this link, or you can type in this URL. And remember, I have Python version 3.12. That is during starting ComfyUI, it tells you your Python version. You can just check your terminal. Once you know your Python version, come here and look for the insightface CP and then the Python version that you want. So for me, it's 3.12 here. So I'm downloading this third one. If you are on an older version, CP11, you can download this one. CP10 and CP9 is here. To download it, you click on the link, the name basically, and it will take you to this here where you will not see anything, but all you'll have to do is to look on the right side here where we have a download button. So click on this download button and it will download the file. Now, some of you may get this box at the top where it asks you to save or save as. Click on save as. In the window here, navigate to ComfyUI Windows Portable Python embedded folder. Inside it, you will save the file. So do not rename the file. Even though it's a long name, do not change it. The name is very important in this case. Simply click on save button. Once again, go back into your Python embedded folder. At the top, type in CMD, press enter. This time you will type in this command here. Now you can type in until install, then type in insight. Press the tab key on your keyboard. It will auto-complete this line for you. Press enter and you should hopefully see something like this where it says successfully install, and somewhere in this here it will tell you insightface. So for me it's insightface 0.7.3 here. Now once you get this successful message, go back and restart ComfyUI, and again some of you may get this error. That's another error that can happen. By the way, the moment you restart and it works, you can skip this part, but If you do get this error where it says numpy and then expected 96 C header and stuff like that, and you still get this import fail, then again go back into the Python embedded CMD. Next, you will type in this line here where it says Python until install, and then type in -- upgrade and then numpy, then type in this here. So this is important. We need a triple equal sign and then the version number, which is 1.26.4. And you can see it here. I'm typing it here. Numpy equals to and then the version. When you press enter, it will tell you collecting numpy and then the version number. You will also see a message like this where it says uninstalling numpy and then successfully install that particular version of numpy. Now once you say this, hopefully now you have no import error message and it says ComfyUI ZenID imported correctly. Now we're not done yet. You will need to test out the workflow. So click on workflow at the top, click on open. Then in the window here, navigate to custom nodes. That's going to be ComfyUI portable, ComfyUI custom nodes, then ZenID workflow, and then you select this one, the face swap one. Click on open, which will open the workflow like this. Like I've shown you, like I explained, to test out, the top image will be the source image, the bottom one will be the face that you want to use. Next, you will need to get the different models. We'll need 3. So the first one, you will need an SDXL model. You can use a full SDXL model like I'm using here. You can also use an LCM model as long as it is SDXL. So this you can get it from Civic AI. I recommend the Juggernaut XL or Realistic Vision XL. You can just search for the name and you will get it from Civic AI. Next, we'll need the control net. So for this, we'll need to go into the manager at the top, click on model manager, and this will take you to this page here where you can type in InstantID at the top and you will get a few results. You will need to download these 2 files here. Now you will see that these 2 are repeated, and one says InstantID, the other one says ControlNet, but it's the same thing here at the top where it says InstantID and then ControlNet. These are actually the same files. It's provided by 2 different people. You can install the top one or the bottom one. It doesn't matter as long as you install this IP adapter that says InstantID SDXL and then the Diffusion PyTorch models that says ControlNet SDXL. You can check these 2 boxes and then it will tell you install here and then click on install. Next, go back into the load ControlNet model and then select it from there. If you do not see it, you can go into edit, refresh node definitions, and then select it from the drop down. Now for that IP adapter, you will need to select it inside the ZenID face swap node. So in this here, click on the drop down and then select it from there. Next, put your input image, right click on the image and then open in mask editor. Draw a mask over the face. And then the bottom one, you will put your face in there. Now, when you click on the Q prompt, we are not done with the errors. Some of you may get this error here where it says assert detection in self.models. This means that the insightface models was not extracted correctly in the correct folder. So go into your ComfyUI portable folder, ComfyUI models. You will see a folder named insightface. Inside it, you will see another folder called models, and when you look into it you will see like a zip file, and then we have a folder. Now if you go into this antelope v2 folder and you find another folder that says antelope v2 like this, you see 1 and then you see another 1, it means that the extraction process created a duplicate folder for you. So what you'll need to go is click on the folder until you see these files. Just go into the folder and then select all. You can press Ctrl A to select everything and then press Ctrl X to cut. This will be to move it. Then go back once, right? So the path at this stage will be models antelope v2. Only the first one that you will enter. Don't go into the second one, all right? And in this folder here, you will press Ctrl V to paste it. Then you can delete this duplicate folder. All right, so the path for your insightface models will need to be models, insightface models, antelope v2, and then you should see these Onyx files in here. All right, and then you can click on the Q prompt, and now it should work and it will generate the image. All right, so this one was a little bit of a longer video. I did not cover the face combine one. Actually, on my Patreon page here, you go into this link here, patreon.com CodeCraftersCorner, and if you scroll down, I have a full video breakdown on this face swap ZenID, and this thumbnail here was completely generated using this ZenID model. This one was the Flux one, but the SDXL does really well. I'll be sharing the SDXL. The Flux one will be on Patreon. As long as you're on the first tier or more, you will get access to that Flux swap. And if you need any assistance, you can message me there and I will be able to assist you. All right, so hopefully you got this one to work. Like I said, if you already have InstantID, you should be able to install this and give it a try. Like I've said here, I think for me, at least for the images I've generated, I think this is the best face swap project I've seen so far. Initially, from the original workflow, you don't get a lot, but as long as you explore it and you keep on adding to the node, you will be able to get really good images using just one face. Any style that you can think of, you can add it. Of course, as long as the base SDXL model can generate it. If you have any issues, you can always put it in the comments down below, and I will try to help you as much as I can to the best of my abilities. So thank you for watching until the very end. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye for now.